You're doing everything right, but your business isn't growing. It's not about working harder. It's about thinking and working differently. By the end of this episode, we're going to give you what it needs to be to move from six-figure operator to seven-figure owner. Madeline, so many times we get clients that reach out to us and they say, I'm stuck. I can't move forward. And I think that when we first hear that, I know that we always say that is what everybody says. Mm-hmm. And the second thing that happens is we're like, slow down. Let's talk about four things. And the first is changing that person's mindset and that business owner's mindset from an operator to seven-figure owner. Mm-hmm. So when we're talking to that person, and I know you did this with me when we moved from 6 to 7 figures as well, and you did it to yourself when we moved from 6 figures to 7. How would you get them to start the process of believing they truly are that 7-figure owner?
So for starters, it's not a scaling problem that they have. It is an identity problem. Yes, believe it or not. The number one issue that I see when I consult and I talk to people about their business and why they're stuck is because every business plateaus at the founder's nervous system level. So if you as a founder are not aligned or your nervous system isn't calibrated, you are going to struggle because you need to be able to let go. And what it oftentimes happens, that founder feels that if they let go, that is how they're wired, right? So if they let go, they're not in control. Mm-hmm. They're always in survivor mode. So they equate success through be able to have chaos in their lives. And that's how they are able to operate. So until that piece is under control and they still rewiring the way they think. And then the one question that I would ask is, who are you when you're not fixing problems?
How does that question, the answer to that question, what would be a typical answer, and how do you work with that?
Well, that question forces them to do an audit in who they are, their identity, mm-hmm. which is where they lack thereof, understanding who they are.
Okay. And
understanding that what took them to a 6-figure or even to get to whatever figure they want to get, they must acquire another identity.
So when we're moving them and they understand that, and then you're working with reframing the way they are thinking and everything else, then once you go through that process and they are better aligned to their values, is that?
Always.
Yeah. And so once that happens, it's not that they didn't know how to do it. They no longer have the restriction to actually execute.
They don't have to rely on their old behavior. They have to create a new identity for themselves and be completely okay being at peace. Mm-hmm. They don't have to always run 1,000 miles an hour to be productive. And that's one of the things that's what dysregulate their nervous system because they're in survival. So when you're in survivor mode, you are in a sympathetic dominant state. Mm-hmm. And when you're in that state, you can think.
That would be kind of the self-sabotaging moments, right?
It is absolutely a self-sabotage moment.
Right. So, I mean, a lot of business owners, they get to a point, or even just somebody that is, I'm making more than I ever thought I was going to make. Therefore, I'm really not worthy to this. So then they just shut it down. And it's been, documented that people will lose money because they didn't feel they were worthy to be at that stage.
Yes, and I mean it all correlates, mm-hmm. right? And so if if you're not regulated, your nervous system is always in that sympathetic state, and you never get to that piece that is the most important, which is your parasympathetic system state, which is your sleep and recover or recover.
Is there one or two things you would have that person either ask themselves, or what would be an exercise you would have somebody do to help them get beyond that state?
So I have a couple of notes here for that. So first and foremost, teach your nervous system to be at peace. It is okay
I have to ask, how do you teach your nervous system?
to be at peace.
Yes. Perhaps I should be learning this. I don't know.
Well, it's very simple. You have to ground yourself, before you get up in the mornings. I mean, this is a very simple process. Most entrepreneurs, the first thing they do when they get up in the morning, what is the first thing they do? They grab their phone and start scrolling.
Mm-hmm.
They don't take a moment to sit in the greatness of feeling their warm bed. That's just such a simple process. It's starting with, grounding yourself in a quick, whatever, whether that's journaling, a moment of gratitude, whatever that is, 5 minutes. That's all it takes to be able to start with that intention of your day. Be aware of how you're reacting to things. That's another thing. There are different techniques that I'm not going to get into it on air for that. But, if you have a therapist, breath work is amazing for that too as well.
So it's calming yourself down.
It is absolutely calming yourself down and be at peace.
Yeah.
You don't always have to be running around and be like an angry cat, because that's most entrepreneurs are always. So the prediction versus evidence, write the fear. What is it that you're fearful of? Is it really going to happen? What evidence do you have of that? Because I think that we just get in our heads instead of dropping into our bodies.
And isn't the real question, what's the worst that can happen?
Always. What is the worst that can happen?
Right.
And you know what? Rewire your body for leadership at scale. You must lead yourself first, understand what that means in order for you to lead others and bring that other person coming in to help you do the things that you need. Because it is okay to invest money in that person that's going to help you.
Absolutely. And I think also, I mean, you got me to do this and you're a big believer in this but self-care is the real deal.
Oh yeah.
And, you said, getting up early and the first thing you do is grab the phone, get up and, whatever your workout of choice is, go do that. Right. And don't look at that. Get your body and your mind in the right place. Right. So I think that absolutely. So,
I have another one. Oh. The calendar. What is your calendar filled with? Is it somebody else's expectations or yours?
Interesting. You want to add to that?
Absolutely. So we often fill our calendars with, and I'm just going to let's just take our children, for example, for those of us that have kids or had kids when they were little, it's always their ball games, their activities. Then it comes the husband's activities or that event. It never is about your calendar and what your purpose is on an ongoing basis, what needs to happen. So when you look at that, is it your expectations or is it somebody else's that you're living?
It's a great point because it's not aligning with you and then you can't take it to the next level.
Well, you can take care of yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
And regulate your nervous system because you're putting yourself last and everybody else is before you. And that doesn't matter if you have clients, depending on you, you have a responsibility to lead yourself by taking care of you and who you are and the things that matter on that calendar. And then you can take care of everybody else. Because if you show up to take care of your clients in a state of desperation and survival, are you really pouring into them? Are you really giving them what they're paying for?
I'll just say no.
No, I wouldn't think so.
So, all right. So now we've got their mind and their nervous system moving in the right direction. They're now thinking and acting and feeling like they are the $7 million, $7 million. That'd be great too. 7-figure owner, and they're no longer thinking like they're just an operator, which really leads to the next point, right? Which is operation overload, right? So operation overload is when you're so busy working in your business that you aren't taking time to work on your business.
Well, it's going back to that calendar thing.
Exactly.
Things full with things that you don't plan. So if you don't plan them, it's going to give you that overload.
Right. So one of the things that we use with our clients, and it's a resource that's available to any of our listeners, it's called our STMR decision-making template. It stands for skill, time, money, and results. And its main thing is taking a look at, all the different tasks you're doing and assessing if you're doing them, what are you giving up? If you had someone that could do it for you, whether it was internal or external, what would be the amount it would cost you? How much time would you save? How much time would it take them? And then ultimately, it's determining if the results would be better if somebody else was doing it for you. And then the opportunity costs. And this is what most 6-figure business owners miss. Is if you are the CEO of your company, you're probably the number one salesperson in your company. And if I'm spending time working on tasks when I could be out there selling 1 or 2 extra clients, and I could take that thing that I was doing that made no revenue necessarily, took 5 hours of my time is worth X, that's Y. But if I can convert that to 2 sales, and let's just say those sales are simply $2,000 transactions. Well, I just made $4,000 when the employer or the outsourcing person that did it in less time, better results for a whole lot cheaper. What operators have to learn is what owners know. My time is most valuable when I'm working on the things that create the most value to my company. And 9 times out of 10, at that stage, it's revenue. So to me, that's the first thing they have to fix, is they have to get past that and understand you either outsource it or delegate it unless it's absolutely, you're the only person that can do it. And even then, you need to assess, should I still train somebody to be able to do it?
So are you saying that your STMR, that you have, can help them identify and replace certain patterns that they're doing or not?
I don't know if it's patterns. It's taking tasks and things that they work on every day and they spend time doing that they could be utilizing potentially that time for a more valuable return and delegate it or outsource it at a lower cost, ultimately making it a good business decision for their company.
There's also an issue that I see with most entrepreneurs that are trying to get to the next level. It's lack of matrix and
Absolutely.
systems.
That was the next thing we were going to bring up, right? Is quality KPIs. And I know I'm just going to let you go. No. You have fun with the KPIs.
No. I just don't understand, why is it that KPIs is not in the forefront of people's business? I don't understand it. I don't care what size of business you have. You must have matrix to be able to know where you start and where you end up and what are the areas of opportunities that you have.
So I think a lot of times when businesses first start, because it's just usually, in most small businesses, start with a very small group of employees, team members, right? And the owner and the founder is involved in all the decision making. And a lot of times what it is they use their gut. And KPIs allow owners to actually make decisions based on data.
You know what? I'm going to challenge the gut situation because people think that intuition comes from the gut, and that is a fear-based, just so you know. So they need to quit making decisions from the gut because it's a fear-based. Just saying.
Okay. I was simply just telling you what
I'm
people
just
do.
saying, I'm just going to throw it out there because people need to understand what they're saying and they're thinking that they're doing.
Right. But I think what operators generally do is they have numbers that make them feel good.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Oh, if we just increase our sales by X, if we just do this, if I reduce my expenses by Y, but really understanding the metrics that go into those numbers, right? What are my number of transactions? What's my revenue? What's my customer acquisition cost? What's my lifetime value of my customer? So these are metrics that help people make good business decisions, right? So when you're marketing and you're spending all this money, but you can't tie it and really explain what your true customer acquisition cost is, because most people have a flawed formula with that, and they only take what they spent on direct marketing, but they don't add in, if they use an agency, they don't add in how much they're paying an internal employee to manage to that. Those all go into your customer acquisition cost, right? But metrics and KPIs have to be thought through to make it so that even operators understand how the decisions are being made, but it allows the owner, when you move to the next level, the owner doesn't have time to break every number down. He needs to make decisions quickly based on facts. And so if we all know what the formulas are and we do it correctly, owners make decisions and then they can allocate the appropriate resources the right way and not guess. So maybe it's not from the gut. Maybe it's just a little bit guessing instead of.
Well, yeah. And I think that they also need to be comfortable with looking at numbers. Most entrepreneurs don't want to look at numbers. They are afraid.
Sometimes they're not fun to look at.
Well, no, they're not. But I think it's important to, again, we go back to that mindset. We must be able to embrace the pain as much as we embrace of the highs. And I think that that's another thing. And that's part of the regulating of the system, be able to be balanced. In order for you to be balanced, you got to look at both sides, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Actually, the three sides.
That's right. And the fourth thing is, so now we've had the first three and now we have the fourth. And the fourth is words that you love too, beyond KPIs, is systems that scale and processes that make people more efficient and effective. And so often I see people using, a spreadsheet when they could be utilizing a system that actually triggers other decisions based on actions and activities. Or they're not using a full-fledged CRM. They're not using true marketing funnels and things that help them, just makes their team more efficient, right? Systems in ordering and all those things should all be aligned no matter what their business is. I can't speak to one type, so I'm just throwing a bunch of them out there. But you have to have scalable systems and processes that make your people more efficient. And tools and systems help that, but standard operating procedures, another buzzword for you, SOPs, that's what made us successful. When we were just one person, one and a half actually, you started writing standard operating procedures.
Yes.
So as we grew, we were bringing people into a system that already worked. We had technology that was making them more efficient. We had other tools that made the back office and us as owners make really good decisions on when we would be able to hire, when we shouldn't hire, right? So we built all that because that's what operators moving to owners have to have in order to make themselves more efficient, more effective. And honestly, owners should not be working in their business unless there's a crisis.
Yes, I agree.
But if all those things are in place,
they
we
don't
should never have a crisis.
Exactly. It moves away from chaos.
That's right.
And they become more efficient and they just don't see it. And I just don't get it.
That's why we're here, Madeline, because when they need help, all they got to do is reach out to us at Trustedpreneurs, and we can help them through that process of getting past that stuck and moving to 7 and 8 figures and beyond.
Yes, it's true. And it's funny because when you're in 6 figures, low, high, don't matter, you're duct taping. When you move to 7, you better have an infrastructure.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Even honestly, even at low 6 figures, you start really, you need to start
building, but it's duct taping. That's what they do.
You'll grow quicker if you have that in place, no matter where you are. Even startups need to, like we did. As a startup, we started building these things, right? And that's what we were just saying, is that's what was cool, is we started taking the things that we learned in corporate and we started infusing them. And a lot of times, people that go into business for themselves, even if they came from corporate, they forget their whole corporate experience for some reason, right? I was like, okay, there were some good things that happened in corporate.
There's some amazing things that happen. I got to say that I owe my success in business based on the experience that I had in the field.
Agreed.
I loved it. And I love systems. I love processes. It just makes my life so much easier.
Wow. That's good too. I should have put that in this whole thing. Well,
see, you got to love the thing in order for you to make it happen.
There you go. All right. Anything else you want to add today?
No.
All right. Guys, what we were hoping to get for you today is to make you understand how you go from a 6-figure operator to a 7-figure owner. And most importantly, you have to adapt your mindset to move from operator to owner. You need to work on your nervous system. You have to build out consistency within your self-care to help you calm your body down, calm your mind down, so that you are the most effective and you're open to taking on the next challenges. You need to build out and make sure that you are making good decisions on what you spend your time on in the business, but you're moving yourself away from the in and you're working on. Then it's coming down to building up and making sure you have the right metrics and KPIs. And lastly, it's that you have scalable systems and processes that work. So until next time,
let's get to work.